What's up, everybody? It's Brown Girls Glow. Bet to act like you know. Don't be scared. Just don't fear. Oh, man. So, what's up, everybody? This is Mia Hall. I am here and your host of Brown Girls Glow Live, a show where we speak to young teenage girls of color about how to give, lead, own, and write your destiny by either talking about topics of faith with just me, or we invite other women to come on here and talk about faith, careers, how they got to where they are, how what they would say to themselves when they were 16 years old, and so much more. So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in today. And we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Here we go. All right. So, today, my topic is simplicity. Now, I lead a small women's prayer group from the inspiration of Chris Maloney, who helped me to be a part of Brooklyn Women's Prayer Group. And that prayer group that was based on our geographic location was so beneficial to me. And I met so many friends that are like lifelong friends. That was like college for like prayer because it was like friends that I met there 10, maybe over 10 years ago, because I was praying for my job. I remember praying for a job maybe like a year or almost 2 years in. And so it had to be at least 2011. Like at the latest, I joined in 2011. It's 2024, so at least 13 years ago that I joined Brooklyn Women's Prayer. And, you know, I've had some of those friends for 13 years and like close friends, and that's in New York, in California, and now I'm in Atlanta, but we still have these friendships. So anyway, I wanted to start one in the Atlanta area. So anyway, and this year, last year we decided to go through the book, The Celebration of Discipline, and we are in chapter 6, and chapter 6 is on simplicity. So yeah, so that's what I'm here to talk to you about tonight. So as a teenager, you might say, you know what, I don't have that much going on, but honestly, the ambitious teenagers that are, watching YouTube videos on personal growth and self development, then you probably do have a lot going on. You have soccer practice, or if you were like me in high school, you were a part of the student council, you were a part of, excuse me, the yearbook committee, you were on the basketball team, captain of the basketball team, right? Then, that doesn't count your activities outside of school, right? So you're on the school basketball team, but then you're on the YMCA basketball team, that's outside of school. So you have those games, you have those practices. Sometimes you have to travel with if you're an AAU team. Like you have a lot going on. But there are times when God calls us to be simple, right? And so we don't want to confuse simple with being easy, right? So, what Richard Foster, who is the author of the book Celebration of Disciplines, he talks about in this chapter how Jesus nor Paul were uh, easy to understand, but they made things simplistic. They made it, I would say, understandable for an everyday, person. And when I say everyday person, of course, it's like no offense, but it's like they made it relatable. I want to say that to everyone, right? And then so he talks about that in your delivery, but simplicity to me, when I think about it, it also makes me think about the scripture, which I put in my post. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So let's go to that scripture. So the scripture, um, where it says that is First Corinthians 10:23. So First Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23 in the New International Version. Let's read from there. It says, I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, excuse me, but not everything is constructive. So that's what makes me think about simplicity, right? We can do anything, we can say anything, be anything, right? But you know, there comes a point where we are we are bringing more on ourselves than we can bear, right? Um, I know we say that God says that, He doesn't give us anything more than we can bear. They say the Bible doesn't say that. We don't have a scripture where it's like, you know, God doesn't put anything on me that I can't bear. Um, but either way, right? Sometimes we put more on ourselves than is necessary. And so we have to realize and we have to take some time to say, you know what, Mia? I'm probably talking to myself a lot more than I'm talking to you all, but you might have to say, you know what? This semester, I'm not going to be able to sell Girl Scout cookies. I don't know what it is, but even as a high school student or whatever age you are, you have to know that sometimes simplicity is going to have to be practiced, right? We have to come back to that. We have to take our Sabbaths, right? And it's not just because we want to live that soft life or we want to, be lazy or something like that. Shout out to everybody that's joining the live and shout out to everybody in the chat. I feel like I like when Kai Sanat, he said that. Shout out to the chat, shout out to the chat. Okay, I focus here. But no, but I just came on to encourage you about simplicity. One, because I don't even, when I think about the disciplines, right? So just to give a quick overview, I've spoken about the disciplines on this channel, but just in case you are unaware of what the disciplines are, there are disciplines such as, and I'll actually, I do have the book here with me. So the disciplines that Richard J. Foster speaks about, excuse me, excuse me, are he breaks it down. There are inward disciplines, there are, and that's what he starts with, the inward disciplines. So that's the discipline of meditation, the discipline of prayer, the discipline of fasting, and the discipline of study, right? So this is, nobody has to know you're doing it. That's the disciplines. Internally, you're building up your internal self and you're practicing it, right? And on Instagram, really quickly, if you can let me know if you hear me. So those are the inward disciplines. Then we go to the outward disciplines, and the first outward discipline is simplicity. Now, that's not saying he really doesn't say much about clothes. So it's not about like, oh, being simply dressed. It's more so about the way you are, the way you act, the way you present yourself. He talks about unself consciousness, right? So he talks about like basically, yeah, how you interact with people and things like that. Okay, then the discipline of solitude, the discipline of submission, which we'll get into that when I go into that chapter in a couple months. And then part 3, you have the corporate disciplines. That means disciplines that you practice with other people. That's the discipline of confession, the discipline of worship, right? We have corporate worship. We have personal worship too, but talking about corporate worship, and the discipline of guidance and the discipline of celebration, right? Which I think is, very awesome that celebration is even a discipline, right? But I think that simplicity is something, maybe even celebration is not a discipline that we think of when we think of like prayer and fasting and worship and serving and things like that. Submission, you know? So I wanted to just address that, right? If anyone has any questions, if any of the girls have any questions for me, please feel free to ask. Um, and practice simplicity. I did post today about the Black Enterprise Disruptor Summit, and Arian, who's over the Fearless Fund, who unfortunately they lost the lawsuit that was filed against them, saying that they would have discriminatory practices because they were giving women of color money, which is of course absurd to anybody that knows how long disenfranchised people have not had access to the type of funds that other groups have. And so that is preposterous. And I know that that fight is not over. And whichever way I can support, I will continue to. One thing that she said, though, was that disruptors often get disrupted. Like, you can't be a disruptor without being disrupted. And so, a way to like prepare for you to be disrupted is through, I believe, through simplicity, because if you are practicing your discipline, if you like know what you have to do every day, if you know, set your schedule up, right? When it's disrupted, at least you'll be able to go back to what you were doing. That's what I like. Shout out to whoever's on YouTube as well. Feel free to leave a comment. It comes on StreamYard. But and let us know where you're tuning in from. But yeah, so you have to incorporate, or I encourage you to incorporate simplicity in your life, incorporate scheduling so that you can have the ability to be disrupted, to be a disruptor and be disrupted. That Disruptor Summit was um, fantastic. Shout out to everybody at Black Enterprise, Selena Hill, Alfredo Jr., Alyssa, Kristen, everybody that put that on, because that was, it was amazing. Um, it was a packed house from what I saw. Nick Cannon, Cameron, um, um, formerly Miss Diddy, but she's going by Candace, her birth name. Um, and yeah, so that was, I mean, that was a big announcement. And it was just a place full of people that were willing to support each other, right? Atlanta being such a center for African American entrepreneurs, for Black Enterprise to host an event there for entrepreneurs, it was electric, right, in the building. And if you weren't there this year, make sure you go next year, because, yeah, the electricity, the connections, like, it was just high vibrational, very high vibrational. No, but but yes, everybody was just like, wanting to connect and help each other out, support each other. Content creators just helping each other create content. Like, it was beautiful. Um, so yeah, I definitely hope they, come back next year to the city. I definitely look forward to going. Meeting Mayor Dickens, that was awesome. I'm trying to talk about a few highlights. Of course, my mentor Alfred Edwin Jr. And hit another one of his mentees, Chike, um, and being able to catch up with them and just hear about all they're doing was inspirational. And yes, I did like miss a lot of the conference because yeah, a disruption was. I mean, I had a friend of mine that passed away like on that Saturday morning, unfortunately. Um, so that was hard, very hard. But we are getting through it still. And because, like I said, you have to plan for the disruptions, right? Um, I plan for disruptions by making sure that, what, I am living, I'm doing everything that, is out there to do. But in light of this topic, um, I do aim to practice simplicity. And I'm saying this on YouTube for my YouTube supporters and subscribers. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already to this channel. But to my YouTube supporters, yes, I am looking for simplicity. Now, granted, I am going to, go as hard as I can after my goals, and I still want to achieve a lot. But I also know that it's not always by yourself that you achieve these things. It is not always by doing 1,000 things. It's doing the right thing. So you can't go wrong doing the right thing. Thank you, Shakila and Shakila Dad, for sharing that with me this week. So I want you to stay encouraged. Keep elevating, as I have on my old shirt today that I actually had at Network and Beats, where myself, Selena, Bianca, Tia, Janelle, we hosted events. I really hope that we bring that back. And I can't wait for that to come back. So, if y'all hear me, let's run it back this summer. But either way, I'm also 40 days until a big milestone birthday. So yes, I am counting up because I was listening to Brandy and Carly Harvey Winning Wednesdays today, and Brandy said that she felt like 40 was, and then Carly kind of added on to that, but that from 40 it was like life really opened up, and possibilities opened up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Woo! I'm just thankful to be here still. Like I said, the most recent friend death that I had, he was 36 years old, Will Smith. 36. So, for me to be making it to 40, I'm grateful. I don't want to share so much, I'm not going to be like, oh, give me the 40. No, I'm not that person, but, but I am grateful and, um, yeah, thankful that I get to see another year, you know, um, out here, or at least in, American culture. 40 is a big deal. And so, yeah, so I look forward to celebrating as well. But until next time, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and let me know what you would like to see in another episode of Brown Girls Glow. Okay? All right, so until next time, you'll have a good one. Take it easy and keep elevating.